Welcome everyone to the Liberated Pussy podcast. This is your girl Adina. I'm here with my sis Monique. Tehuti is coming in. We have been having just yummy challenges that are really causing us to up level in a powerful way. It's been so, all I can do is laugh. All I can do is laugh at it because we've been doing it one way for a year and a half. And now energy is requiring us to do it a different way. And so here we're in an experience right now. You can take this journey with us right now. Right now. So, Monique.
Yes.
Are you down with LPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Hey! And for those who are going, what's LPP? That's Liberated Pussy, y'all. Monique, can you confirm that we're actually live on IG?
I'm attempting to do that now.
Okay. Okay, I see that we are. I can see that we are. Ashe, aho, amen. Let me just take my volume down. So yes, we are live. We have a guest. I'm going to send another invitation to him. He's having some we have been experiencing some technicalities. And like I said, it's delicious and yummy because we've had the opportunity to grow and expand and work it out on our feet. It's not like work it out for tomorrow. It's like work it out while you running. Run and get there. So let me give you my introduction. I am your girl. I am Adina Gittens-Smith, the goddess of magical movement. I am co-founder of Belly Dancers of Color Collective. And just know that is the ancestors speaking through me, using my gifts in this incarnation to utilize movement and connecting with our femininity. And as you connect, I'm actually able to connect better with the masculine. As you heal on all of these levels, you heal all levels of your life. So it's a beautiful thing. Monique and I have an opportunity to facilitate goddess technology together, online and in person. So we are taking a group of women to Bali in about 40 days. In 40 days, we'll be in Bali working with ladies, doing this sacred work together. Yes. Every week, we also have an offering called Goddess Gathering, where we gather and we really get into the nitty-gritty of personal accountability. It's been an amazing journey of growing up to yourself, growing up to your power, and waking the fuck up. Okay. So I work with women in a weekly basis through movement and through actually taking ourselves to our higher levels of consciousness. So that's me. Mo, take it away.
How you doing? Thank you, Adina. Yay.
Yay.
I am Monique, also known as the Moon Mama. I am the co-founder, the co-facilitator of 13 Moons and Goddess Gathering with Adina. I facilitate 13 Moons with Gabrielle. I am the founder of Follow the Sun, which is a community designed to assist women in healing their karma, trauma, past life experiences, and alchemizing that energy into their magic and current time experience. I'm a master at that. That is what I do. I use astrology and my coaching skills to assist people in shifting out of one way of being and into another. And I love my work. And I'm so grateful to be here today with TehutiEL and Adina to talk about magical medicine.
Yes. So, as Monique said, we have this amazing, I call you Tehuti, the everyday shaman, because you're so real, you're so available to us and helping folks when they come to you elevate to the level that they're ready. You know, I appreciate you for that. So, Tehuti, introduce yourself, and then we're going to give it back to Mo to talk about the astrology that's present today, and then we'll get into this yummy conversation like we did last week. So Tehuti, tell the people who you are. I feel like everybody know you. If they're in the DC area, they should know you. You know, you that man.
I appreciate it. Oh, so you can hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Oh wow! So I got the video the second time, and then it wasn't I couldn't hear y'all, and y'all couldn't hear me. So it was like, oh man, I had to go back out.
Time. You couldn't hear us. We can hear you.
Oh okay. Oh wow. Yeah. So that's so as you know, my name is Teron George L. I like to call on The ancient deity Tehuti, Thoth, Hermes, Jehuti, different element. That's a spell I created on myself that I even have him as my surname in front of things or title, so that I always remember that that's the energy that I call upon, and that's the energy that I use best in the setting that I'm in at this stage in my life. And basically, I just have gone down what they would call the shamanistic journey of different medicines and different healing plants or of spirit animals that we use to do the ancient techniques that was taught to us from our forefathers and our ancestors. And that's just me in a nutshell.
Ashay, welcome to
Yay,
the
thank
Liberated
you.
Pussy Podcast. Last week you said
Yeah,
you've been liberating pussies for a long time, and I'm sure
yeah,
they thank you for that.
yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah. Appreciate the calling.
Ashay, Ashay, thank you for joining us today. Momo, can you give us our astrological overview? What's
Yes.
happening in the stars?
So thank you, Adina. Thank you, Tehuti. I'm so happy to have
Thank
you
you, Mo.
here.
Thank
And
you, Mo.
um,
Appreciate
I love how you said you put a spell on yourself.
I
That
love
is
that too.
so
That's dope.
profound. Like literally, when you said it, I was like, "Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to put a spell on myself."
I wrote it down. I'm like, spell
you. I
myself.
say,
Right.
yeah, I say.
And I'm very clear what it is too. So thank you, because here's what it brings me to the astrology today. Because the sun is in Gemini, and the moon is in the final degrees of Aquarius. So those are both air energies. Gemini air is our mind and how we perceive reality. This is so important because the way we narrate our experience is how we perceive reality. So if you're saying, I feel good about this, that is going to be what you experience. If you're saying, I feel bad about this, that is going to be your experience, right? And the key is just to be conscious in it. Like the key is to understand how reality works and to understand how you are relating to reality. So, with the Sun and Gemini, we get to do the work to reprogram the stories we tell about ourselves, that we tell to ourselves about reality. And then today we have Mars, which governs our will, your will,
Okay.
your ability to assert yourself, your ability to um, be to use your masculine power, your masculine energy, your ability to have impact in the 3D reality is in Aries, which it governs. So that means that we're having a deep identity shift. And Mars is going to be conjunct Chiron today. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So this is the ways that we have been afraid to be ourselves, afraid to be your uniqueness, afraid to um, like hesitancy, fear, frustration in in accessing your true identity. So today there gets to be a healing that gets to occur. And like, so how I'm working on this personally, like I am clear that my mind has an old way of perceiving reality. Like my mind only sees this very small amount of reality, and then I tend to make decisions upon that with that little perspective. And so now where we have this energy, I'm inviting my mind to expand, see more, feel more, right? So that's how I'm using this energy. I see an old pattern that I have that doesn't serve me anymore, that I'm ready to outgrow. And I am witnessing it through love, acceptance, gratitude. Thank you for getting me here. And then going to do rituals to open it up into a new way of being, because that's the energy that we have. So this energy
Right.
is has been here for a couple of days, and it'll be here for a few more days. So this is a really great time to do some reprogramming of your body if you have health challenges, because Mars is the body. And so health challenges would, are generally patterns that come through our lineage. So these are ways you can start reprogramming your body to produce, to to respond to elements in a new way, right? So If you have
Mm.
hypertension, for instance, if your heart, if your blood vessels are clogged, right? That that's Mars. That's heart. That's right. So you would then take some herbs or do some rituals to open up the flow in your right. So you have to really be you have to be very intimate with yourself.
Hmm.
You have to know yourself. You have to have
Very
this
intentional.
right to how you function so that you can flip the switch and begin to function in a new way.
I say.
Ashay, thank you.
Ashe.
Can I
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yes.
Did you said Chiron?
Yes.
Wow, that's you might have just named my if I ever have a second son, I mean a third son, you might have just named them for me, man.
What?
Cause because my second son name is Cairo, and then my name is Tehran. So that's literally Chiron, right? And I would definitely, because I shattered my femur and broke my hip, and I walk with a limp, I would consider myself the wounded healer.
Yes.
Ashe. Ashe.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
definitely that's interesting. I definitely want to do some research on that name.
Yeah,
I
you
Mhm.
like
better do
that
some
name,
research because
Chiron.
if you're gonna give that name to a human being, that's a lot to carry.
Mhm.
Mm,
So really research because it truly is a wound. It is like you have to really master a wound to access the magic from it. But once, and you will, you know what I mean? But
right,
it's
right.
Mhm.
just know that you're assigning that soul wants to have that because you're not assigning it, but you will be calling in a soul that wants to have that experience.
I'll
Ashe.
say. And,
Yeah.
and one other thing is I feel like so what you said about like kind of renaming or reclaiming like a generational trauma or disease or
Yeah,
something. So my mother has been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I think they call it.
I know fibromyalgia.
Right, I'll say right, and which t- in Western science they call it like the black disease.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like black people get it, right? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? They don't even think it's like they don't say it's so they don't even always say that they even believe that it's a real thing that you get and it
Wow.
might be of the mind,
Yeah.
which and when you see what it is to me, it's like I almost reclaim what it is because I feel like whatever it is that my mother have that I kind of have too.
Hmm.
And a lot of and then my grandmother has it, my aunt has it, who's her sister and her brother, they all have it. I never claimed it or never called it, but I feel like I understand what it is that she
Mhm.
has, and I feel like I changed what it was in my thought process to kind of clean it out.
Yeah.
And you could Adina can attest for this. My mother's close to 70 and she looks like she's like 40 in her
She
40s,
fly.
easy,
His mama
right?
fly, y'all.
Wow.
But so the thing is though, is that she literally can't stop working out now.
Mhm.
It's like because in her body feel she has this like this. It's we're a container of a lot of energy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? And I feel like the energy being balled up is where the pain comes from,
Mhm.
Yes.
right? And so where they call it something that's kind of like a negative and try to make it a muscle disease is really
Mhm.
saying this your body's more than just muscle and mass. You have to
You have to
fix
move.
yeah, you have to fix your container so that you can
Mhm.
handle this type of energy. So you have to
Mhm.
Yes.
move, you have to take these certain herbs, you have to take these certain things, you got to fast from certain things so that your body's not just balled up and kind of like in
Mhm.
pain.
Oh,
and
yes.
and
Mhm.
and I feel like that was a way that I kind of like renamed or reclaimed that whatever that dis-ease or disorder is in the body
Mhm.
and made it be something because I don't sit still.
Ashe.
You don't sit still at all.
Monique
I
calls
say
stuff like that like a diagnosis. Like, okay, medicine has given a diagnosis, but
Yes.
we don't have to subscribe to all of the things that they wrote about that.
oh
So,
Right.
well
Tehran, I observed that in my
yeah.
mother-in-law because she had that diagnosis as well. And what I realized is she was just in pain all the time. She didn't take the approach that, and she's an ancestor now. She didn't take the approach
Oh
that your
okay.
mom took to keep moving. She stopped moving. And so you
Right.
see
And so
what
you just
happens when you
lock up.
stop. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Everything
Yeah.
just, you just
Uh-huh.
exacerbate your trip out of here, your trip to the
Yeah.
And
ancestor.
with that being said, is that like what you said about what I said about me putting a spell on myself, right?
Mhm.
If
Yes.
you like, and so like what Panic says, if you don't program your own mind, somebody else will. If you
Ashe.
don't spell your own mind, somebody else will too. And a lot of Western medicine is really a spell
It
Yes.
is.
because they'll diagnose you with something, and once they diagnose you with you, it's like, well, do I think I might have that? I ain't sure. And then they
Oh,
give you the pamphlet to tell you to read all the symptoms. So if you didn't have the symptoms, you just really lock that into your
You start
brain that
picking them
these.
out.
that's
So now
right.
you're like, oh well, look, I must have it. And before you know it, you're
Right.
picking up more. And now they really just put a magic spell on you and just basically cook the whole little thing in a pot and just say,
Mhm.
here, this is what you got, and here, take it and read about what you got and study about what you got, and
Mhm.
now you have it. And
And now
nobody's
these
gonna
are the
tell me
drugs
any
to
different.
go with it.
Right,
Yeah.
and here these drugs that go with you that they telling
Mhm.
you that these drugs is gonna mess your body up. So now,
Mhm.
if you didn't have certain symptoms, by the time you take this medicine, you will have those
Don't
symptoms.
You
have
have
it.
more.
And,
That's right.
right. So it's really and it's literally just a spell.
Mhm.
We deal with magic so much, and a lot of people don't know that we're dealing with magic so much, and they put themselves in these places where they're literally being spelled upon to their own demise for real.
Mhm.
The level of ignorance when I just hear myself go, we don't know who we are. Like
Hmm.
we have no idea how we function. We don't know where we are. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we're doing. We really don't know. And they have created a big system called the Western world that is like a monopoly game. And we were born into it and we start playing it, but we don't really know. And the thing that I've discovered in studying cosmology is this is all a blank page. We just happen to be born into the game that the white man created. That's it.
Right.
We're in the white man's mind. We literally are in a white man's mind in this
Mm.
Western capitalistic culture because they
That's right.
created this.
Right.
Mhm.
So all we have to do is begin to take responsibility and become sovereign and create our own. And the blank cosmic system will honor our game if we just play it. And you can do that individually. You don't have
Hmm.
you do it individually and you live according to your codes because that's all somebody created a code and we're here doing it. We're just
Mhm. That ties in perfectly with the topic that we're talking about, which is using plant medicine for liberation, using plant medicine to break the spell, using plant medicine to wake up to who you are, where you are, and start driving your own fucking car. Like you're
Oh, that's
driving
right.
it, but you're asleep. We talked about that in the last conversation Monique and I had, being in a car with your foot on the gas, but you're not conscious that you're going someplace. Somebody
Right.
else is
Right.
actually directing you. So, Tehuti, can you use this and just kind of jump into talking about the different aspects of plant medicine? I know when I talk about plant medicine with folks, they think of it as just getting high. Like you're getting high. That's like this is so. I'm high anyway. Anybody who
Well, I
stay high.
so impeccable with your words. You are getting high.
Okay. Yes.
So
But not like
so
they mean it though. Not like
and
they mean
so that's part of their programming and they spell that puts a negative thought process on that, and
it.
that's
Right.
why they even if you look at what they when they the name psychedelics, or they have the name ethogenics or ethogens or ethogens, is to say it's a stairway to God, right?
Okay.
Stairway to heaven, stairway to God. And so they're telling you that they have different medicines that tap you into your higher consciousness, into to your heaven gate, And so you deal with like okay, so like back to spells, right? So you got can you see this?
Yeah. Is that brass? What is that?
Yeah, it's brass, but it's so it's an Adinka symbol, right?
Okay.
And
Oh, okay.
and you'll see it a lot. It's real
Inyame.
common, right?
Inyame. Yeah.
With awareness to God,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or God is always here, God is always
Mm-hmm.
watching, right? Whatever way you think of it, you know what I'm saying? And because there's levels in the thought process of how you think about what it says. So you're doing you need different symbols, right? Symbols can activate the mind and wake the mind back up, especially once you realize what the symbol is and the way that it's put up. Now, the different medicines that they put that you have are really just like a different kind of way of shocking the body into remembering where it's at. Wake up. Like
Mm-hmm.
my car accident was a wake up. I drove on a tractor trailer. That was like, hold up, you playing out here. Wake up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you can fast forward that in a way that like iboga, Western African root that they take, and it's literally like you're going to the realms of death to talk to the realm of the dead and to get answers, because we come from that spot, and we're not afraid to go back to get the answers that we need. And in that, your brain is being traumatized in a way that's waking it up. That's and inside that trauma, your body's getting stronger, your brain is getting stronger. The same way how you work out a lot, and when you work out a lot, the muscle is breaking down, and by the muscle breaking down, when it comes back stronger. Our brain's the same way. It's
Yeah.
activated the same way, and so it's really about what the container can handle, what the mind can handle. It's literally what you just said, Miss Monique. You just said that you had to accept more things in your life to have more things be available to you, right?
Hmm.
And so they'll sell you that because the mind is all, and because everything that we do and everything that is our reality. So now, even when you have a scary dream, or you have an entity in your dream that's scaring you in a type of way, that's your own mind telling you you're not ready to cross past that threshold. And
Mm.
so now you're being scared by something that's giving you a demon or entity to show you that you're scared. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this place. And the more you're able to overcome your fear, and with these different medicines that have a way of alchemy of tapping in at different parts of the body, the heart, the mind, the brain, the gut, the cleaning the blood, and with thought process, I think is a very, very big one. I was asked, we're doing a ceremony in North Carolina, and it's been a lot of that actually lately. With some of the, because like I said, I started with all Caucasians. You know,
Mm.
they're the people that taught me. Like when I started in the rooms, the medicine place spaces, there was no black people around. You heard of that clan in Detroit, like you heard of them, you heard whispers of them, and you heard about Denver, you heard about I mean people in Atlanta, even the thing that's funny, like there's people here that's been doing the medicine work, and they really were underground with it so much that you didn't know unless you knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So even like with Sabi, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's almost common knowledge that Sabi's like was really a mushroom god himself, but when they really talked about Sabi, all they talked about was holistic healing, like about the
Mm-hmm.
herbs and all that. They never really get into all the etogenics.
Yeah.
And then once again, with your mind being prepared for certain things, it's certain things that I studied and I didn't even realize that it was there. You know, like when I study African holistic health front to back. I studied a lot of Africa front to back. So he was a friend. I got to talk to him, speak to him a couple
Mm.
times before he transitioned, right? But when you before, I guess I just wasn't open to the medicines or even the knowledge of it. I didn't even realize that in his book he talk about Iboga. He talks about certain medicines right in his book, and I missed it until I knew about the medicine. And once I knew about the medicine, restudying his book is like, oh, he talk about it right here. And so I feel like the collective consciousness has made it more hipper and cooler for even the people who are a little bit, for sake of lack of a better word, scared to mention these things, or judgmental too, because I feel that that's something that's happening too, is that we're very judgmental
Yeah.
on what the medicine in which, and that leads back to what you're saying, is that we a lot, you'll hear people, well, uh you're just getting high, y'all just going in the woods and getting high. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, at the end of the day, even if I was just going in the woods and getting high, ain't that better than me just selling drugs on the corner, or what my old life when I was running around, you know what I'm saying? Just offer drugs that wasn't good for me and doing all crazy stuff. If the only thing I'm doing is having a fire and clamping a tent out in living in nature and getting high and maybe talking to a tree or something, I'd probably rather do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, but I'm pretty sure that the character of me has been better because of the medicine. Oh, that was the point I was trying to get to, and the information,
Yes.
because I learned that was the one thing that I think I learned, and no shade to anybody if they are listening and they see it. Some of the people that when I first was in the collective rooms together in some of the meta spaces, they had no code. And I think you said my aunt to somebody, right?
For
Did
me,
you say, yeah? Did you say my aunt? I thought you called
Her
somebody.
cat.
oh my
She has a cat named Maya and Offset.
Okay, right, okay, right. I know I heard it, right. I heard you say my aunt. So I learned my aunt in my low life.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? When I was still hanging on the streets, running around with people that I shouldn't have been running around with, or I should have to learn what I had to learn. That's when my mother was teaching me my art.
Yeah.
So even then, so it was the first time I read the Metanetta, I was 21, 22 in jail. My mother sent it into me, and I read it the first time, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" But my mind's so like, oh, I want to understand this, so I kept reading it, but I really didn't never. And then around my 30s, it was like, aha, wait a minute. I think I get this a little bit. I get what he's saying. I get what I'm supposed to be. I get how I can be better. And I get that he's telling you how to make yourself better by programming yourself with these different. I mean, he was very impeccable with the way he teaches you. And I feel like that was the missing link for some of the people in the quote unquote medicine spaces, is that they do a lot of medicine with no code.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Tehuti. Oh, there he is. Okay.
We talked about that before, Monique.
Tehuti, you got to
We
turn.
can't hear you.
We can't hear you. You have to turn your phone off so nobody can call you. Like just.
We can't hear you now, Tehuti. Okay, go out and come back in. We're loving the technology. Technology is loving us. Monique, we talked about that. We talked about people doing healing work without the spirituality.
That's
People
right.
doing plant medicine and not understanding that this is the real medicine. And even the synthetic drugs, where do they come from? They come from plants.
They come from plants.
Yeah.
And
But the intention, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Well, the intention that's built into those synthetic drugs come from a different place, just profitability and then, all the side effects and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
okay, he's back. Let's see. Tehuti?
Yeah, somebody
Hey!
somebody called me and they knocked my voice thing off.
That's what I was
Okay.
saying. You have to turn off your phone.
Put it
How
on
do you do that?
do not disturb
Do you have an
DND.
iPhone?
Yeah, so you can turn it off. You can put it on do not disturb, and my
Put it
Wi-Fi
on
still
do
work.
not disturb. That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Not airplane mode, but do not disturb. Yeah. So just veggie backing on what you were saying to Huti about not having a code and not having principles and not being aligned with something. It's not that it all has to be the same, but you got to be aligned with something. You got to be connected with, like, what are you up to? Like Monique, you and I talk about that. What are we actually up to here? So without that, then you are just kind of floating in a sea, and you can kind of attach to anything, letting the TV program you, letting the music program you. When I utilize plant medicine, oftentimes I don't like to have music on because I don't want to be programmed by whatever the artist or the music company or whatever was intending. I want to be open to an open channel and an open vessel to what is to come to me. So Tehuti, now we don't have your picture. Are you still there? Can you hear us? Okay, I'm going to remove him and then he can come back in.
Okay.
Okay, now there's this picture.
You see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
Okay, yeah, I put on do not disturb. Okay, I got
Okay, great. Mo, you were going to say something.
Just how important it is, the intention piece, that there has to be because these medicines can feel social. They can feel like people are just using them to get high if there's not an intention. Like when I first started using marijuana, I was friends with the football player, Ricky Williams.
Oh, right, cool.
Got kicked out of the NFL for, I don't know if he got kicked out for smoking weed, but because I'm not an NFL person.
Long term, he got suspended for a long time, for a minute. Then he came back. But yeah.
So there was a time in my life when I was very connected to him, and he's a medicine person. He's a herbal person. He's when he was in the NFL, he didn't want to take the drugs that they were telling him to take because he knew that was going to have long-term harm on his body. And he's like, if I can just use marijuana and that won't have the same effects, why would I use that? So he taught me that when you use marijuana, you set an intention. And when you have an intention, the medicine will do with you what your intention is asking it to do.
Okay.
And that so I use the medicine as a sacred sacrament, even marijuana. You know what I mean? Like, right. And because I feel like if we don't have intention with it, we don't come back from the experience with the wisdom and the tools and the knowledge that help us navigate our our daily lives in a different way. We're just escaping otherwise.
Or you
Well,
could come back, or you could come back with something else though too. That's
that's
the other
true
part of
too.
it, right?
Marijuana is a visionary tool. You know,
Yeah.
it expands. And if you don't have an intention with it, you can expand into anything.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
us doing our magic, let's expand in the way that we desire.
Yeah.
So, amazing.
So
Tehuti,
Tehuti, I heard you said we can come back. We can come back with a negative entity too. Is what you're saying?
Ashe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll say that's the
Hmm.
whole. That's the whole point of I guess my profession is that it if and that's the beauty of a person like me, like Adina said, is that I'm really a jack of all trades in a lot of different things, right? So I'm very bendable and movable in the way that I access this, because that's the way my personality is. That I'm really have done a lot and seen a lot and studied a lot and was birthed into a lot of different elements of life. So I've been around a lot of different settings of things. So when I started studying medicine, I like I said, I started with a lot of Caucasian people, and a lot of their ceremonies are kind of done in a very big group setting, right? Especially when it comes to mushrooms, they do it with a lot of people, you know, what I'm saying, outside thing. And when I started learning about like how Baba Kalinde and them did it, is that they're very intentional in them doing it by themselves, right?
Mhm.
No music, no nothing, just no dark, just dark room and you and a lot of medicine, right? And then when you step into these ayahuasca spaces, you'll see that they're promoted to be very outwardly and big and stuff like that, in a way that is not necessarily the traditional way of some of the medicine spaces, where they did it inward quietly, not really throwing up a lot. But that's people that've been dealing with the medicine since they were babies too, so it's a certain type of queasiness that's not over them unless they're really sick, right?
Mhm.
So because of that, they when you're dealing with so the teachings basically is that, so what Kalinde was teaching too is Kalinde is teaching something for a higher level type of fight too, because you're fighting in the ethers in a lower level against entities that you attacking, that are uh, at war with this world in a heavenly manner, right?
Mhm.
So when you're in these group settings and the container is connected, if one person might have something on them, that could jump off them onto you, or vice versa in different ways. And that's why they have Icaros. That's why they have certain songs that they sing, that because there's just a certain vibration that you reach to where these entities can't hold on to you anymore, or they don't want to, because you're the songs, the music, the sage, the kapal, the frankincense, these are higher level things. And like I said, without the medicine, if you look at Metanetta one is always Ra Nefer Amen is one of the is a key Bible of just holistic health, period. And when you read in that book, he talks about certain oils you use certain days of the week. And when you're so intentional with these oils, it brings you to a frequency. If you meditate with certain oils and you at that frequency, as soon as you smell that oil, it brings you right back to that frequency. There, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just listening to you.
Hmm.
Are you saying auras?
Oil.
Oils. Oils.
Mhm.
Yes. 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 Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Oil.
like
Like jasmine. Like yes.
right, the spiritual ones and the real ones too, the more concentrated ones,
Yes.
and
Rose
what
oil. Yes.
right.
Absolutely.
And when you get at especially if you're a heavy meditator or heavy person that hits certain frequencies, or in the medicine space, if you whenever you do mushrooms, you burn a certain oil. If you take that oil and put that oil under your nose when you're not in the medicine space, it'll bring you back to that frequency without the
Mhm.
medicine, because
Yeah.
it's that was the medicine. You see what I'm saying? So it's like these different things. So that being said, these are different oils, singing, different items that you use is to keep the element of the entities at bay, for the common man, as you would say, because we all our own shaman.
Yeah.
And
Ashe.
that's the thing that Kalinde was very big on teaching, is that we're all our own shaman. We're all our own medicine man. We're all our own protector in that way. And if you're not, then your mate is there to tell you what might be wrong with you because they know you better than anybody else.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So we have that in our own. It's a big cooking pot that you do to protect yourself from not being harmed when you're dealing with these things, because there are things that don't notice you because you're just, as you said, you're driving sleep at the wheel. So why do I care about you driving sleep at the wheel? Because you're just doing anything. Now if your energy becomes too high and it's not necessarily of your giving, like you can't, that you're up there and you're not conscious of your while you're up there, that's when something can jump on you because they're like, wait, hold up, I didn't even see this person here. Then what are you here for? Let me see what's going on. Right. And so it's it's plenty of like sage, and it's plenty of, it's even like it's one I like to eat with. I eat with a lot. It's called asafoetida, and
Mhm.
it's a herb that the Indians eat with, and it literally is like a form of garlic, right? And it dispels negative energy. You don't really have to eat it. All you gotta do is smell it, right? And if you just put it on your food, it helps to dispel negative energy. A lot of the things that we, as traditionally, if you, for lack of a better word, in slavery times or in the olden times, that the herbs that they put on, they garnish that they put on their food was to dispel the body of parasites when they did eat these different meats. That
Yeah.
was a form of protection.
Yes,
Mm.
I have that herb. A friend of mine who was Indian told me to get it because I told her I was having some digestive challenges. And she said, get this herb, and before you cook, put it in the skillet first, and then add your food after that. And
Yep.
then
And so look at the holistic of that. Is that so now mind you, we talking the will, we talking the gut. We're
yes,
talking that's the second or third brain if you count the heart as
yes,
a brain too. We're
yes.
talking the gut having a lot of the issues that we deal with these medicines. The first thing you hear is, oh, I don't, my head don't feel right, my gut don't feel right. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because it's the gut that has to be cleaned out. So now when you take this medicine that helps to clean the gut out, it's dispelling the body of negative energy that's sitting in the gut,
Mm.
right? And so it's funny how we you know what I'm saying, I love to speak the Baba's names when I'm talking about, especially in these places where we were getting these recordings on. Is a lot of Africa is one that a lot of people don't know about, that they should do more due diligence of studying, because his mind was so impeccable that you don't want to have his mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, to sit back and observe somebody who connected everything. Like, he shows you the connection of everything, how none of this is separate. And if we ever try to separate it, we're already in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because it
Right.
all has its meaning. This one connects to this, and this one connects to that, and that. And you will see that a lot of our doings of the olden times was very impeccable in us being our higher self.
Hmm.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Ashe.
Thank you.
Last week, Tehuti, you talked a bit about mucus and parasites and that part. And of course, Lala Africa talked about holistic eating and
Right.
everything. Can you just give folks a little piece of how you see medicine helping to heal the gut? Like we talked about the duck flower and the
Oh yeah, so like I said, like especially they say like a lot of the healing modalities or ethogens are they're purgatory medicines, right? And they're at well at they're purgatory medicines at face value, because because you'll realize that the more the body is actually clean and not of a place of dis-ease, these medicines don't make you purge as much as it would as you would. But being that we are so dis-eased now, we've even made that be part of the presentation when we do these medicines, that we got to have a bucket in front of us because we gonna throw up, right? And so, because but our bodies, especially in the Western world, we are so full of excess mucus, because you gotta be clear with that too, just for the because we get those holistic healers that be like, well, ain't nothing wrong with mucus. Do you know the mucus does this? Okay, we got that. So we speaking of excess mucus.
Mhm.
Like the mucus has its parts in their body like everything else, because it helps to move things through. If
Hmm.
it's when But the mucus is really supposed to be just in the digestion tract that
Hmm.
helps things move through. Where the problem comes is the excess mucus that we have all over our body, all through our chest, going up through our nose, shown in our face, in our head. The
Mhm.
reason why most of us, if you are bald, you're going bald because your body, it's mucus over top of your brain that won't even let your hair grow in.
Mhm.
Right? It's just like and that's what Dr. Sabi was always big on. Is like mucus is the problem. Plain and
Mhm.
simple, mucus is the problem. And so you have between the different medicines that you take, which if you find out that peyote is very bitter, that San Pedro is very bitter, iboga is very bitter, mushroom tastes funny, but it's not really bitter. But a lot of the bitter herbs, once you come and find a lot of the medicines that you take are bitters too. So it's like and especially in the Western society where we are basically America is the cocaine capital of the world more ways than one for real because it's all about the sugar with us. So it's
Yes.
cocaine and it's sugar. If it ain't sugar, it's cocaine.
There
You know
you
what I'm
go.
saying? And so and those things form so much excess mucus in the body, and
Mhm.
we don't. And the counteract for those different type of sugars, even the carbs,
Yeah.
potatoes, rice. To activate those, you have certain herbs and you have a lot of bitters. The Chinese, a lot of bitters. The
That's
Indians, a lot of bitters.
right.
Africans, a
They
lot
do.
of bitters.
That's
They
right.
eat a lot of bitters.
That's
We
right.
don't, we don't, we don't, we
That's
don't adjust enough bitters in our diet, so our
Hmm.
right.
bodies is never at a bounce. It's never at a state
Yeah.
of up. So with
Tahuti, you put up a post maybe a couple weeks ago that said if y'all could drink a shot, y'all could drink a shot of bitters. You could do a
yeah,
shot of
and that's what
tequila,
and it was
do a
funny. I
shot of
seen
bitters.
somebody say it because I've been saying that one for years with all of it. Man, like,
Hmm.
listen, you don't like the high ayahuasca taste, but I bet you'll go shoot that. You'll hit 5 shots of liquor at the joint, but you
A
won't take one
tequila,
shot of
right?
ayahuasca.
5 things of tequila and vodka, right?
Yeah, right. Come
Exactly.
on,
Yeah.
you can take a shot of this ayahuasca. You can eat these mushrooms. Let me put some
Yeah.
tea and some honey on it real quick. You can eat these
Yeah.
real quick. It'll be all right.
Hmm.
But that's back to those parasites though. Those be
Hmm.
the answers that parasites get you. Sometimes you gotta speak to the person right then and there. Even the parasite, where the parasite get tricked, they get caught in their head like, oh, he got me. You right? All right.
Okay. You just slipped in with the parasite thing. You have to really let's talk about parasites because parasites are running everything that we do.
Right.
Parasites are they take over our minds, they
Mm-hmm.
take over our bodies, our cravings, and people don't know that. People
So
don't.
we talked about energetic parasites, we talked about spiritual parasites, and then you
So
still have
let's talk
physical
about it now.
parasites.
Let's
Yeah, I
talk
say.
about it, Nick.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So what about can you start with, you know, start with one of those pairs so we can understand.
So we got context.
Right, exactly.
Oh, okay. All right. So man. All right. So I say first, Elijah Muhammad, I feel like doesn't get enough credit. Elijah Muhammad does not get enough credit for if it's
Eat to live.
how to eat to live 1 and 2. Yep, there you
Hmm.
go. Yo, if you read them books today, what he put in those books in the 50s was ahead of his was so far ahead of his time. He talked about all parasites. He didn't even break it down in a way where it was like, oh well, don't eat this. Well, if you eat this is what's going to happen. He was
Mm,
even explaining to his own people, I don't agree that y'all should eat fish, but if you do eat fish, you should probably eat fish freshly caught. If you eat meat, it should be more. It should be treated better because if you eat the meat, now even the if you treat a animal bad and you scare it, it gets locked up with this certain type of
yeah,
The
fear hormone
emotions.
right before you eat
Hmm.
it, and it gets override with that hormone. As soon as you eat that hormone, it becomes part of your body. We
yeah.
are our bodies are amazingly beautiful, and we are technology of the highest stage, and we
Mm,
literally become what we eat, right? And so if you get overrun by the bait, because like I said, we are symbiotic beings. So there's certain parasites that you can't get rid of. They're older than you. They probably was the person you was talking to a little bit when you was a little kid. You didn't know they would answer back. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And
Hmm.
so, but what happened if you let that parasite override your body by the conditioners that are part in, which personally, I like to think they know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
when I say they know, I'll say either it's certain parasites know how to take over a body and make the body be controlled by it, and I would say almost 90% of my brain thinks that the ruling class is controlled by those parasites. Like they don't even walk with their own mind. They walk with that parasite mind. And with that parasite mind, they have systematically made a Western society where they get to feed their parasites to become more and control more. And because the melanated being is harder to control in that element, they've always tried to get rid of us. Because at our higher stage, it's harder for them to hold us into that. And
It's
so it's,
impossible for them to hold us when we're
well,
in
I
our
say, I
right.
say, and
Impossible.
so what happens is that they have done a lot to feed that. And I'll just give you one. Like that's what I said. When it comes to a lot of Africa, he breaks that spell, and that's one of the things when new people come to me asking about this stuff, I give them Nutricide. Tell them read Nutricide. Scare you to death. I need you to just get scared first.
What's it called?
Nutricide for Dr. Lalea Africa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it will literally he will break the spell on you because he'll show you that this ain't even because it's fun. It's easy to say well, this ain't intentional. They don't know no better. Then you see that no, this is diabolical and intentional. They're murdering you. And they're showing you inside their songs, their nursery rhymes, inside everything that they're intentionally feeding a different type of entity to control you with and get rid of you, right? And so
That
inside
book scared me. When I read that book, I felt like I couldn't do nothing. Like you can't do nothing. Like you barely want to inhale.
Right. And sometimes you need to get scared straight for a second. And then after that, you can come back to a balance and realize, man, I do really want to eat this cookie, and maybe this cookie do got milk in it. But if I eat this cookie, I'm about to eat about 4 bitters and don't eat for a couple days. So you gotta learn the balance of it to get rid of it. But at first, you just need to be scared.
Yeah.
So that you can just realize that lotion that you putting on your body is killing you. That shampoo you putting on your body, that toothpaste you in, everything that they're systematically picking at you because they cannot kill you by yourself. They have to break your vibration down and mentally break you down to your lowest form so that you kill yourself.
So
there you go.
Isn't that something?
That's deep.
It's really something. I remember one day I was driving down the street and my spirit said to me, because you are so far from the equator, your system is always compromised.
I should say, yeah.
because
But it's the knowing of it that once you know that, then you know how to bring the sun to you.
Yes. But it's like I didn't realize at the time, I didn't realize how vulnerable my system was, how vulnerable just being in this country is. But it just came into my head and I was like, fuck, like it's in everything. And I have spent the last 2 or 3 years really cleaning up my diet, and I don't drink alcohol anymore. But let me tell you, the cravings, sometimes I am like, it's like just craving bread is like craving.
So all right, so look, can I tell you this real quick?
Of course.
All right, so here you go. So one, real quick, KT, he'll tell you that if you can get to the close to the equator, to the Caribbean, anything like that, like around the springtime, around the fall, you usually want to try to get down there in the fall, right before winter hits. And if you can spend 6 to 7 days down there, you'll bring that soul, your soul, you'll be charged enough to go through the winter months in the North America.
Okay.
Right? So that's just
I love that idea. Charge up before the winter. Charge yourself. Yeah.
So that's just a spell. But then, so this is what I was about to tell you, and then you kind of brought it back in, right? So even there's a hormone called a grivet, right?
Called the what?
A grivet. Grivet. Just look up. It's I think it's like GRIBIT. It's called the hunger hormone. If you just look up the hunger hormone, it'll pop up.
The hunger hormone?
The hunger hormone.
Okay.
And it literally it gets ran over. It'll get ran over by a parasite, and then they will intertwine with each other, and they literally only want you to eat like carbs, things that are bad for you. Right?
Yes.
So they have I forgot, there's a parasite that gets inside of it's like these sea otters or something like that, right? And the parasite, their only job is to catch somebody, to die, to be reborn, right? And so the only way they can die, they will take over the sea otter, and they will run it over the cliff to die. You get what I'm saying about that?
But why? Like, I'm not getting why.
Because their mission in life is to create more parasites, and they create more
Okay. They're
parasites
just
by
trying to
dying.
live. They're just trying to live.
By dying though, because
Mhm.
when they take over the animal, they
Mhm.
form more parasites in it, and then they die, and then more parasites get born through like the maggots and stuff.
Well, they're like gremlins. Y'all remember that movie Gremlins?
Right, right. So
Wow.
there's safe to say that there could be some parasites that come into us, and they feed more off our energy as we die.
That's
Wow.
deep.
Right, and so we get into a spot where we're of not of our right mind, and then we're doing all these different things that have all these different consequences. And then the last part I want to say about that is it's another one called, I think it was from Lala Africa. It's called castrum, right? Like CASTURM, and this is
Isn't that what women produce when they first have a baby?
That's colostrum.
Colostrum. Okay.
Mhm.
yeah, castrum. It's actually the when you see natural flavors, it's usually the natural flavor that they put in the food. So like when they're especially when they're dealing with like blueberries or things of that nature, it's called
Mhm.
castrum, and it's put in it tastes like blueberries, and so they put it as natural flavor for blueberries and berries and that thing. It is literally the secretion of a beaver's ass,
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
right?
it's an artificial natural sweetener or whatever.
It's a
Yeah.
natural sweetener. It's the
Uh-huh.
secretion of a beaver's ass.
Wow.
Now let's go back to we're dealing. This is a parasitic game, right?
Yeah.
And the artificial sweetener that most people are using is from the a secretion of a beaver's ass. How many parasites? How many diseases do you think is in that alone that you use every day just to sweeten your food,
Yuck.
right? And so the biggest question ain't nobody ever still been able to tell me is how they figured out the secretions of a beaver's ass was sweet,
Exactly.
right?
That's what,
that
that's
that
what
it
I'm
was sweet.
thinking. Like who went to do
Who
why?
was the first one who did a lot of this stuff? Who was out there tasting beaver butt to
I
say, "Hey,
mean, but
that's sweet. Yo, put it on your
you think
cereal."
about these doctors have been experimenting, like these Western European doctors have been experimenting on humans and animals and people and women. I mean,
For a
it's
long
just
time.
for a very long time.
Oh,
For
and I say to that. So Dr. Patricia Newton, I don't know if you ever heard of her, but
Have heard of her.
have you ever seen Hidden Colors before?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so she was one of my teachers, and she was a friend of my mother's. She's from Baltimore, Baltimore, Maryland, and she was in Hidden Colors 4. They interviewed her, and they interviewed what's the brother name from DC? Tony Browder, Anthony Browder. They
Hmm.
Mhm.
interviewed both of them about like why Baltimore is such the way it is, and there's different things. But she was one of the doctors who proved that the pineal gland was a real thing, and not just and it was actually the third eye, because
Yeah,
before that they just said it was just a dormant gland that was in the body that
right.
didn't work and all that stuff like that.
It's like
And
they
the
say
reason
we have
I'm
junk DNA. They say we
right
have junk DNA, right?
and
And
the
all of
reason I
that's
mention her
ridiculous.
is my very first ceremony that I mean not ceremony, the very first lecture I ever went to that my mother dragged me to was of her she was speaking of what you just said, is that she was speaking of how Baltimore really now Baltimore might have a lot of junkies on the street, but you won't never see a lot of homeless people on the street when it comes to Baltimore City. And her reasoning for that was that Baltimore City is controlled by the biggest research hospital in the world.
Hmm.
And
Johns
so
Hopkins. They picking them up.
they picking them up, and not just picking them up, they'll pick them up and pay them. So
Mm.
they'll go in there and like and love to get paid to do all these things.
Well, you think of John Hopkins and Henrietta Locke.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I
they're
say
still
yeah, right. And what
utilizing
you
her
just
cells
said,
today. So many
right,
medicines came off of her.
right. So that and so that's what I'm saying, and that's the one thing too when they say a conspiracy theory, but all these theories have never been conspired. They've been true. They've been proven
Right.
true. And so inside of that, what her lecture was about melanin and how you actually get melanin, and from and you have melanin that they subtract from the body, and you only can take it from a living corpse, living
Hmm.
body is
A
how they
living
take it.
body.
Yeah, well, as the body's living, they it
Yeah.
ain't gonna live after they take it though.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I would say in my medicine journey, I had someone that said, in the medicine space, that yes, I've got gifted melanin before. Don't tell nobody, and they got it on the dark web. And you go to the dark web and you see how much melanin costs. It ain't cheap, but it's being sold. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely have they have implemented ways to get rid of us, and that's another story. But that's even when everybody ain't that's DOA ain't DOA. You know what I'm saying? Dead on arrival. They're not dead on arrival when they get there, but they might be dead on arrival by the time they leave.
Well, the thing about anybody attempting to get rid of us, we are the first line of connection to the divine. If we leave, everybody leaves.
The whole party's over. The whole party's over.
I ain't speaking of none of this with fear.
Right.
None of this with
fear. I know. I'm saying for the audience. We're here, just the three of us. I'm saying to the audience. To us live.
My bad. Y'all don't even want to get that off. My bad. Yeah,
if they get rid of us, they get rid of themselves.
Party's up. Party's up.
We created reality. So
even more than we created reality, you two created reality.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the bigger part of that is that when you it's a lot that we did together when we were first together, but when we split for a reason. And it's you got a job and we got a job.
That's right.
And part of the job that the melanated woman has is that they create the reality that is y'all are the creator of the physical. That is Sophia. That is Lilith. Y'all are the creator of the physical. And so some of the physical that is off a little bit, the melanated woman has to realize that they can change that reality, but they can't also be used. They can be used the other way to fear this because now we're talking hormones. Y'all are,
but that's our work. You speaking on what we do. That is what we do. I say.
That's what we do.
I say, and it's needed, and that's what this stage is.
And what I was saying when we first started is that I am in the process right now of changing the way I perceive the external reality, the story that I tell about it.
Right.
And it shows up in these really interesting ways for me. Like if I see a number like 200, immediately that goes into a calculation in my spirit that says I have this much space. Every number to me means money. It's a very interesting thing.
Oh yeah, every number's alive.
And so I am giving myself a new interpretation of it so that I realize that the numbers are God's language, that the numbers, because I have numbers in my mind as a limitation. Because what I always say is Black people, we were here in this country initially for 250 years working, receiving no benefit for the work. We weren't, everything has a benefit to it, right? And I don't want to get into the political conversation around the benefits.
And Mo, we're at like a minute and a half, and I want to honor our time too.
Okay, great. Thank you. So
but that could be a conversation for coming back.
That's right.
You see, my camera just turned purple.
Okay. So just learning how to reprogram our perception is very important because as women, we create the reality. So if we can see it in a different way, it'll be different. So thank you.
Yes. So those who want to see reality in a different way, we're talking to the melanated woman. Come work with Monique and I. That is exactly what we're doing. We are changing the world with ourselves and with our sisters. That is the work of Goddess Technology, Goddess Gathering, and of course, all that we do at Follow the Sun. So thank you so much, Tehuti, for that. Someone said in the comments about the purple flower that was used in what was that? Black Panther.
Oh, Black Panther. Yeah. It's either a boga or mushrooms. It depends on who you want to say. Me personally, I think it's closer to what a boga would be, and it's an African root, but it could be the mushroom too, though.
Ashe.
Yeah,
and someone also was asking about a good place to get bitters. They were saying that the places that they found them were synthetic and things like that.
African, any type of African shop. There's one in Bowie. And there's one in Langley Park that I go to a lot that has they have all the bitter roots, bitter herbs. Or KT has a couple bitters on his site. And it's a Baba. I can't think his name, but I'll put it in the text.
Okay. So we'll add
Chinese food, there are herbs that are bitters, right? So black walnut is a bitter. You can get black walnut at Amazon.
Golden Seal is a great
bitter. Oh, and just the bitter melon too. They are all international markets. The bitter melon is
Start with
Ashe.
just start with black walnut. Look
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon and get a black walnut and a tincture and take it in the morning before you eat and at night before you go to bed, and it'll start killing those parasites and the candida in your body.
Ashe.
I say,
Ashe. Tahuti, tell people where they can reach you for all this amazing stuff that you do.
my website is the Goddess Rose, and we have Facebook is Tehran George L, and my Instagram is TehutiEL. And like, yeah, I'm an open book, and just just DM me, reach out to me, text me, whatever, and yeah, just whatever you need to know, we can talk about it.
Thank you so much. This was a beautiful conversation and we got through it.
All right. That was
Thank you
good. Thank
all.
you.
Love you.
All right, love you too. Appreciate you.
All right. Peace.
Man, I feel like you still on?
Um,
Oh, you think you're still on?